The blizzard slammed into Montana that bitter December night in 1879 like a freight train from hell. Eleanor Whitaker stood at her kitchen window, staring out as the wind howled and snow swallowed her sprawling 8,000-acre ranch. At 45, she was still a striking woman, raven hair tied back in a simple braid, figure hugged by her faded blue wool dress, but looks didn't matter much when isolation was your constant companion. Then she spotted him, Jacob Riley, her newest ranch hand, battling through the drifts toward the main house. Just 26, untouched by the world's cynicism, he was every bit the rugged ideal her late husband had never lived up to. He pounded on the door. She swung it open. "Mrs. Whitaker, the horses are bedded down." Jacob gasped, snow caking his broad shoulders. "But this storm's a monster." Their gazes locked, and in that frozen moment, something ignite draw, unspoken need that had nothing to do with weather or livestock. It was the kind of spark that could burn down a life built on duty. She poured him hot cider, her fingers brushing his as she handed over the mug. One folded next would test them both, but was one stolen night worth the fallout? 8 months earlier, Jacob had ridden onto the Whitaker ranch with little more than a worn saddlebag and ambitions as vast as the Rockies. Born in Kansas, orphaned young after his pa fell in the Civil War, he'd bounced from outfit to outfit since 19, honing skills and stashing every penny for his own spread. Eleanor watched him that first day from her veranda, sizing him up. Most cowboys were hard-drinking troublemakers, but this one carried himself differently, straight-backed on his mount, polite to the Mexican herders without a hint of arrogance. "Ma'am, word is you're hiring for the spring roundup," he said, tipping his hat. She stepped nearer, caught off guard by his piercing green eyes and the clean lines of his face. "You know your way around cattle, Mr. Riley?" "Jacob Riley, ma'am. And yes, I can wrangle whatever comes my way." A jolt passed between them, electric and forbidden. She pulled back. $40 a month, plus board and bunk. His brow shot up. Standard pay was 30. "That's mighty fair, Mrs. Whitaker. Good hands earn it." She sealed the deal right there, wondering if she'd just invited trouble or finally found some light in her shadowed world. Within days, Jacob had the crew running like a well-oiled machine. He tamed broncs that bucked off veterans, tallied ledgers with a scholar's precision, and every dusk, as he nodded good night on his way to the bunkhouse, Eleanor's pulse quickened in a way it hadn't since her girlhood days. She'd wed Thomas Whitaker at 22, a merger of her father's lumber empire and a cattle king's fortune. 23 years of obligation, chilly nights, and conversations as dry as dust. When Thomas keeled over from a bad heart 4 years back, she'd grieved the stability, not the man. Passion? That was a stranger until Jacob Riley stormed in like a fresh wind off the plains. The hands respected him, but Eleanor saw it deeper the way he pored over maps by lantern light, the careful tally of his earnings, the longing in his stare across the endless pastures. "Got plans for your own outfit someday?" she asked one crisp September evening as he delivered the monthly tally to the house. "Yes, ma'am. That's the goal." "Goals can bite back, Jacob. So can settling for less." She offered him cider. Her lace cuff grazed his wrist. He flinched like it had scorched him. "I oughta head out, ma'am." "Oughta and wanna ain't the same." The air thickened. He rose, all 6 feet of restrained fire. "Mrs. Whitaker." "Eleanor. Call me Eleanor." "I know your name, ma'am. And I know mine." He bolted, but the seed was planted. Whispers started among the crew-side glances when she carried water to the fields, murmurs over campfire suppers. She was flirting with disaster, and the smoke was rising. What happens when a widow starved for connection crosses paths with the one man who could shatter her carefully rebuilt life? It escalated on a Wednesday. A grizzly had been raiding the herd, and Jacob tracked it solo at dawn. Cornered the beast in a ravine massive, snarling fury. His shotgun misfired. He hit the dirt as claws tore his arm. The bear fled at the thunder of backup riders. They hauled up to the main house. The bunkhouse lacked proper bandages. Eleanor shooed everyone out. "I'll handle this." One look at the blood-soaked flannel, and her stomach twisted. She sliced away the fabric, exposing tan muscle that made her breath hitch. She'd seen bare-chested men plenty summer haying crews, but this was Jacob, alone with her, his skin fever-hot under her palms. "This'll sting," she warned, dabbing whiskey on the gashes. "Already does, ma'am." She worked close, inhaling his scent, leather, pine, pure masculinity. His body tensed. Hers responded in kind. "You were reckless out there. Brave but dumb. Couldn't lose the stock." Their eyes met. His breath shallowed. "Mrs. Whitaker." "Eleanor." She bandaged him, face inches from his. "Say it. Just once." "I shouldn't." But then, "Eleanor." It rippled through her like wildfire. She finished, her hand lingering on his chest, feeling his heart thunder. "Your trouble, Jacob Riley." "No, ma'am." "You are." He stood, wounds forgotten, their bodies brushing. The crew's gossip echoed in her mind. "Folks are chattering." "I know. Reverend Hayes cornered me on Sunday, asking if I was conducting myself properly with my staff." "What did you say?" "Told him to butt out." Jacob's grin lit the room. "That's my woman." "My woman." Her legs weakened. "I should boot you out, for your sake." "You should, but you won't. Because I'm tired of empty days, and you're the first real spark in decades." She backed away, palms sweating. "Rest up. That's an order." She retreated upstairs, tears streaming for the loveless marriage she'd endured, the passion she denied, the man below too honorable to push and too foolish to flee. That night, dreams of bare claws and tender caresses haunted her. She awoke knowing she was doomed. Salvation or ruin? Jacob, Riley held the answer. The blizzard descended like divine wrath. Eleanor had dispatched the hands to town earlier, save Jacob, who stayed for the barn chores. The cook, Mrs. Lopez, had gone to her ailing sister the day prior. They were utterly alone. She busied herself with supper, ignoring the pounding heart as she strained for his boots on the porch. When a knock came, it echoed like fate. "Horses are settled, ma'am, but this wind's vicious." Snow dusted his lashes. His cheeks were raw red. "Come warm up." She fixed cider, spiked with brandy, to steady her nerves. He thawed by the hearth, steam curling from his damp coat. "Strip those wet layers," she blurted, then flushed. "I'll manage." "Jacob." He said it softly, savoring. The gale rattled shutters. Flames danced. They sat opposite, propriety intact, but tension crackled. "Tell me about Kansas. Your kin." "Not much story. Pa gone to war, ma followed from fever. On my own since 17. "Is that why you've never?" "With a woman." "Maybe. Or maybe I waited for the one worth it." Silence fell, heavy as the snow. "Jacob, You'll say I'm too green. You're a proper widow. Tongues will wag." She rose to the window, reflection mocking her. "What if I skip all that? Then you're the gutsiest lady I know, or the most reckless." He approached from behind, heat radiating. "Maybe both." She pivoted. Inches separated them. His palm cupped her jaw. "We can't. We can choose, Eleanor. For once." His kiss started gently, then deepened as she yielded. Decades of frost melted in seconds. Her fingers fumbled his buttons. He groaned. "Eleanor, you sure?" In answer, she guided him upstairs. The bedroom glowed with lantern light. "Shy now," she confessed. "I've never. Not from desire. We'll take it easy." His touch revered her, tracing curves as her gown pulled away. She felt seen, desired. Then her turn unveiling him, marveling at his youth and strength. On the bed, explorations built to urgency. She arched, whispering please. He hovered above, eyes ablaze in crash. The front door burst open. Voices below. "Mrs. Whitaker." "You in?" Jacob swore, rolling off. "Dress fast." Panic surged as she scrambled into clothes. The spell shattered. Reality flooded in. Sheriff Harlan wasn't solo. Reverend Hayes loomed behind, brushing snow from his overcoat, suspicion etched deep. "Evenin', Mrs. Whitaker." "Rivers iced over." "Saw your light." "Mind if we hole up?" "Of course." Her voice wavered. Jacob emerged from the back, rumpled but clothed. "Sheriff." "Reverend." Harlan's eyes sharpened. Riley? Didn't figure you'd be inside this hour. Storm rattled the barn. Mrs. Whitaker offered tea while it passed. A fib, but plausible. Hayes scowled, scanning her flushed cheeks. How neighborly. Venom laced his tone. He pulled her aside to the study while Jacob stalled the sheriff in the kitchen. Hayes sank into Thomas's old chair like a judge. I'm worried for you, Eleanor. I'm fine. Out here alone with rough men? It's unseemly. I run my own ranch. But whispers are spreading. Her chin lifted. About you and that pup. Favoritism, extra pay. Jacob's top-notch, he earns it. Sure, but optics matter. Your soul matters. He leaned in. Miller from the Mills asked to court you. Solid man, your age. Miller, 62, paunchy with a gaze like dead Fish Thomas reincarnate, worse. Not interested. You should before you're standing, your eternity. The slap of judgment stung. If you persist, you'll drag him down too. He could get blackballed from every ranch in Montana. The threat hit home. In the kitchen, mundane talk of weather mocked their near transgression. When the storm eased at dawn, the intruders left Harlan cordial, Hayes glaring. Jacob faced her. I gotta go. No. You heard him. Stay, and they ruin you. If you leave, they win. If I stay, you lose it all. He clasped her hands. This changed us, but forward's impossible. Tears welled. Then what? He rode out, a fading silhouette against the white. Spring thawed slowly in Montana that year. By May, wildflowers dotted the meadows, but Eleanor barely registered them. Jacob vanished weeks after the sheriff returned with community concerns about impropriety at the Whitaker spread. No charges, just hints that Riley best move on. She'd raged, vowing to confront gossip, but Jacob chose for them. Won't watch him break you, he'd said, saddling up. You deserve more. She watched him disappear, heart fracturing. A month later, she accepted Miller's ring not for joy, never that again, but for the numb security of expectations. Wedding set for July. But that evening, porch sitting as sunset bled orange like Jacob's old bandana, a letter arrived. No sender, just her name in a script. Eleanor, got a spread in Wyoming now. Small but mine. Think of you constantly. You think of me? Ever yours, Jay. She clutched it, imagining alternate paths. Tomorrow, she'd reply. Wedding news, urge him to find a fitting match. But tonight, memories, flooded touches, whispers the almost was. Yet dawn brought clarity. She burned the letter, pinned Miller's acceptance, vowing to bury the past. Years later, with a stable if loveless marriage, she found peace in her ranch's success, knowing she'd chosen survival over scandal. Jacob thrived on his land, marrying a kind woman, building the life he dreamed. Their paths diverged, but the brief flame had taught them both to value what mattered, integrity over impulse. And in quiet moments, they smiled at the memory, grateful for the lesson. What do you think, should Eleanor have fought for Jacob, or was playing it safe the right call? Drop your take in the comments below. Share your stance on love versus society, and let's debate.